Hey everyone, I'm Day Marker, and it's been a while since I've actually reviewed Kamen Rider Gavv. If you've watched any of my other videos, I've kind of explained that I've just been really freaking busy. So I decided we're gonna do a bulk catching up episode video. I was gonna include episode 47, which just aired this past weekend, but with the way it ended and everything going on in that episode, I was like, you know what? I want to hold off on including 47. So I'm just gonna be talking about episode 43 through 46. So 4 episodes. And it's going to be very rapid fire of going over what happened in each episode, like my thoughts on each one. But then, I want to kind of talk about where I see the show right now as we're in the final stretch of the last handful of episodes, with 48 airing this upcoming weekend. And one of the things that's really tough is with all the Commoner Zetsu stuff, like between the toys, the press conference, the teaser, like everything, it's taking that attention that I had towards Gavu away, and which is why I kind of hate sometimes when it's towards the end of a show when this stuff happens. Also, I really wish I could have saw the summer movie because I'm really curious not only about the forms but the story of that, because it was hinted at towards the end of episode 44. But but I did have to rewatch, and I actually watched all these episodes like back to back. So after episode 43, I took my notes. Then I watched 44, took my notes, 45, and so on and so forth. I even have my notes for 47. I even put my notes for 47. It's like, hold off. Include this with 48 for next week. So that's what I'll be doing. So recap time up to episode 43. This is where our president decides he wants to inspect the human world before they decide they want to take over it. Um, I did think it was entertaining to see the president's human form for the first time. I was like, oh, okay, that's a choice. And we got a lot of good, like these last couple episodes, a lot of the action was really good. Like Rocky ended up finding them, and it ended up being him versus two of the butlers, and I love the butler, little minion dudes, agents, or whatever you want to call them. Like, I like them so much, especially the fighting, the design of them. It's badass. And he got his ass kicked. um we did continue the story of Hanto and the candy shop owner, because he finds out that that is Shoma's uncle, and they talk more about it. And the story arc with this, with the shop owner, of him being like, well, do you think she was eaten by monsters? Like, is that why you're asking questions? And they build up this whole, like, you start to realize the guy's so nice, and you don't want to, like, break his heart knowing everything she actually went through, which is something that we got a lot of good dialogue between Hanto and Shoma about. Because even, Hanto finally telling Shoma, and Shoma had the chance and he hasn't decided not to because of this. And Shoma even goes to meet him, and he tries some new jelly, and we got a new jelly gimmick, melon jelly, which obviously would work for From, but even up until 46 and stuff, we don't see that. So I'm like, well, are we gonna see this form? I'm curious, because the melon jelly one, I do believe has been available for purchase. There's also a lot of goat cheeses we haven't seen being used anyways, so I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on with that. Um, I do like that we got this cool scene in 43 where it was Hanto and Shoma fighting two of the butlers while Lizelle and the president are watching on. And like I said, the action sequences are so good in this, and I do like that it turned into like, um, okay, yeah, you beat the butlers, but like the president's so powerful because he doesn't have to do much, and he just destroys everything around him. And even some of the, and this also 43 kicked off some more of the Nelv build up to what happens to him eventually. um, because we get some Jeep stuff where Jeep, turns into the Baku sticks, Bitter Gob, and is fighting some agents, and Nel's taking all the things, and that's where we get the whole start of Nel's secret plan, because he's even looking at the stats. He's like, oh, he's still not as strong as the Red Gavu unit, and maybe I teamed up with the wrong person, and that's how that episode ended. And we're just like, oh, how's Nell gonna we know he's gonna try and team up with Shoma. What manipulation is actually gonna happen? And I was all for that. I was like, oh, I can't wait for this to continue. And then episode 44 was a recap episode. Now there was some sprinkling of some new stuff in there. I did like the Hajime from the first episode returned. So that was kind of cool, and it led to like Shoma kind of explaining what's been going on as the recap. So it wasn't just there, new scenes in between all the recap stuff, which was really cool. I liked Nelv's portion of this because he was walking through where all the doors are, and he was kind of explaining that where the doors go to different areas. Some of them go to alternate worlds. So I was like, okay, this kind of led to and we got some backstory of Nelv growing up with their father basically saying he's weak, he's not strong. um and my thing was the whole alternate worlds, because obviously with the movie it's an alternate universe for the movie, and that kind of foreshadowed that. We did find out from some more backstory stuff that Longo basically poisoned their dad, so he took over the company and the family to bring it to where it needed to be. Lacked the vision and this and that. They were comfortable where they were, but Longo wanted the family in the upper echelon. So I was like, all right, so it's kind of neat to use the recap episode to kind of explain some lore and backstory to the characters. We did get one of my favorite things this show has done is the alleyway close quarters fighting, because we got Nelv and Hanto fighting, which obviously is always going to be one-sided because it's Nelv and he beat up Hanto. And then we got, our lead into the movie, which made it so appealing, which is why I brought it. The fact that I was like, I wanted to see the movie so much. I can't wait for the subs to drop on that, like in another 2 months or so. And it's one of those things where it's like, I'll watch it though, because it looked like I didn't go, like a lot of the times I don't care to watch the movies. Like at the time, like, oh, I wish I could watch it, but then months later they come out, and it's like, oh well, the new show already started. Like, do I really care to watch this? Like, this is an instance where I will watch that movie. And so yeah, not much to really talk about 44 because it was a recap episode. Whereas 45, this is where a lot of stuff happened, and this gets the ball rolling, especially in 46. So 45 is basically picking up where 43 left off, where Nelv finally gets to talk with Shoma, and he wants to join him and become president. And if he's the president, he can, seal the doors. He can bring back all the Granudes from the human world back to their world, seal the door so they can never return. Because, he basically says, the other family members didn't see things the way he did. And, he said with you know, his brains and Shoma's strength, they can take over, not only to bring the family back to their power, but also become president and change things. And, Shoma even says, hey, if you want to do this, I want all the presses you have, bring pressed humans, bring them back, and we'll do this. And I was shocked he does. 2 big boxes crates basically get delivered full of pressed humans, and I'm like, oh, that's neat. I kind of wish, and it didn't happen in the episodes, I kind of wish they would have shown because Shoma leaves basically, with Nelv at that point. And I was like, it would have been really neat to see hey, what the consequences of all those humans being returned at one time. And because one of the things I thought was really cool when they do show in the episode is the social media side of it, where oh, this saw a Granute here, oh, this person's missing there. It's it would have been just widespread. All these people were missing for months, some if not even longer, and it's they all just magically returned. Because I feel like that would have been good press for the Kamen Riders. So I was kind of hoping we would have saw some of the how that would have played out a bit. So because Lakia was injured, my favorite thing was when Hanto was visiting him. He's like, I'll bring you back some rocks. He's like, make sure they're tasty. And he's like, how am I supposed to know if they're tasty? So he grabs a bag of basically the rocks you put in the bottom of a fish tank. And Sachika sees him, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm bringing these to Rakia. And she's like, I'll tag along. And I don't think Hanto thought this through, because we finally got the moment that is something that I'm glad didn't fall to the wayside, was something they forgot about, because Sachika finally sees him in his Granute form. And she's kind of shocked at first, but not really, because she saw him at the beach, the previous 3 episodes ago, when he was stopping everybody from walking into the water when they were trying to herd everybody in, and she witnessed it. But she flat out asked him, did did you capture humans? And this and that, and that led to her kind of being upset, doesn't know what to do. But it's one of those things where we've seen everyone change over time throughout the episodes. Like Hanto hated him, and this and that, and Rocket was trying to kill them at one point. So it's like the character growth everyone went through, and we really didn't have that kind of conflict with Sachika with anything. Yeah, when she found out, Shoma was Kamen Rider and this and that, but not like, hey, there's a lot, you know. We had a Crab Granute fight, which was all right. And I think the cool thing about that also that I didn't bring up from 44 and now 45 is we got a lot of caking form. And I like that. I like the caking form. It's a really good form. I missed it. It's one of the things where I still wish there was some sort of explanation why those Gochizos don't disappear. And we had Lozelle just destroying some buildings, and we had our moment that was like, here's the character growth, because Rocky is helping all these humans. Hanto and Sachika shows up. She's like watching him help people, and then a building starts to fall, and he like covers the person, and even Hanto's like shocked, and he's like, it doesn't, like, because he knows he's a Granite, he knows he's fine, and that kind of led to Sachika saying, okay, this is how he was, but this is who he is now. Look at the changing. Look at him helping all these people. So while the conflict between the internal conflict of Sachika didn't last multiple episodes, we're so late in the show, you can't really do that. Like you really couldn't afford a 2 to 3 plus episode arc of her like not sure how to handle this situation. It's not like before when Hanto found out about his mom from Shoma, or when it's like you couldn't. There was no way to really do that, especially or when Shoma found out that or Hanto found out Shoma was a Kamen Rider. Like you don't have the luxury when you're 45 episodes into the show, when it's possibly gonna be like 49, 50 episodes, like to have a multiple episode arc focused on just that. Also, this led to Shoma finally leaving with Nelv at the end of the episode, kind of in the farewell guys Goku moment. But he doesn't tell anyone. He leaves a note. And one thing that was kind of concurrent over all these is Longo constantly looking on and observing everything. Like Sachika earlier kind of like caught a glimpse of him a couple episodes ago, but like no one knows he's around still. And that was kind of like okay, I like this air mystery. It's like kind of one of those things where it's like he's observing the president and Nelv in the human world and Shoma and what everyone else is doing, but it's like, what is his plan? Because with with some of the scenes where they showed like Shita and Glota like falling into like a bed of like feathers, we're basically all but confirming that as of the end of episode 45, Shoma, Jeep, Longo, and Nelv are the only ones left in the family. So Shita and Glota are 100% dead. So I was like, okay, but what's his play? What's his move? We still kind of don't know, even going into like 47 right now. But with episode 46, this is where some of the best action I think was happening. So it picks right up with Shoma and Nelv. In they're planning how they're gonna kill the president. I did get some of my notes mixed up. This was when we had the flashback of a young Nelv being told by the dad that he was weak, like his mother, whereas Longo and Glota were stronger than him. And the whole plan is, so Shoma's going to disguise himself as Nelv, and he's going to use the bake gun, that has all the stuff in it where, you can control someone and whisper into it, which they built up when the gun was first around. So it's like, okay, that gimmick still works with it. Basically, to control the president. But he even says, because he's the president, he's strong, it's only going to last 3 minutes. So once he's under his hypnotist like control. He has 3 minutes to kill him. And I was like, okay. And you know, uh so Sachika at the same time Sachika finds a note, this and that. She's, going to search, and she bumps into Longo, and this leads to a funny moment, but also shows just how like badass Sachika is, because she knows who Longo is once she finds out that's him, and then she doesn't even care, and she like just confronts him. She has a broom out when he has a sword because she watched him kill a Granite, and then he she like confronts him about like how he doesn't know how to run a business, this and that, and then they start arguing about that, and it was a petty thing, but it was hilarious, and it even led to um Lagi and Hanto showing up, and they're like, whoa, like what the hell is going on, and then Longo just opens the door for them to go in there. And the cool thing about this is, so Hanto and Rocky are literally going into the Granite World to get to Shoma, and Longo just kind of like walks away. He's not going to, but then Sachika wants to tag along, and they're like, "No, you're going to stay." And I was like, "What is she going to do in the Granite World?" But I like that like confidence and that like dedication and like loyalty to her friend Shoma, that she wants to go as well. And I was like, "All right, this is good. This is good. This is good cinema. Good cinema." Um, so once we get into the whole fighting side of things, so Shoma hits him with a bacon, and he's able to resist the poison, and it's basically because he knew, he like, you think like the president is always one step ahead. He, everything he gave to Nelv, he knew, hey, I had contingency plan just in case. And the fighting in this was great. So they're in the president's like little chamber area, and they got all the butlers and Granutes around, and then you just see Shoma in his, was it master mode, zooming around. He tried his overmode to punch him, but just like with the Longo fight, when he was, base like Peasant's got aura as a defense. But him to zoom out fighting every like the butlers and everything else looked so damn good. And then next thing you know, they're in the forest area just outside their castle area fighting, and like he was hitting him with the laser fingers. He's hit, like, I was expecting him to hit the Doctor Doom foot dives. I didn't know. Like, I was like, okay, I didn't know you played Marvel's Capcom. You're getting the combo down good. He's literally destroying a whole entire forest area, and then he's charging up his final beam, and visually, there's a lot of vibrant colors, flashing lights, this and that. But one of the coolest things ever, we got the save with Rocky and Hanto showing up at the last minute with Rocky's shield, and Hanto's behind him. Shoma already got his ass beat, and he's like dehensioned on the ground next to a tree. And, luckily they were able to hold everything off. The cool thing about like seeing how Ram was fighting was using the shield very like Captain America style. Like he's throwing it, it's bouncing off of them while they're running in a sense. I was like, so cool. I also thought it was really intriguing that a lot of the minions or this and that, they had guns, like regular, like, automatic guns. I was like, oh, I didn't know they had heat like that. Okay, like, sure. But they do make the save. They do eventually escape, but you can kind of tell the president like let it happen, because let's face it, he was so OP, he could have took them out. And we got, which is the thumbnail that I had to pick, one of the like the emotions like the actors are able to portray in the show, but also just from the scenes and the drama side of it. Sachika scolding Shoma because he said he promised he would never just leave, this and that. Her having tears in her eyes, like the whole scolding Shoma, like, because it was selfish, but you know, it was one of those things where it's like he was doing it to look out for everyone. He kind of felt like it was the only thing he could do, but it was like that moment of how much their friendship has grown since episode 2 to now. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, yeah, it gets you in the feels a bit, which is why I'm like, and I'm not going to talk about episode 47. I did watch it, I have my notes, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, this really is one of the more fine-tuned Reiwa Kamen Rider shows from a writing standpoint I think in general for Kamen Rider, it's really good. Like that's why I was like, is this a peak season? Like, are we gonna get like if this show sticks the landing where it's at right now, and the next two, three episodes, like this is gonna be a a top show easily, and it's because there's good character. Yes, you can complain about the pacing of some of the stuff, but it's like I feel like there isn't really any loose ends, and any lore or backstory I'd want more of, even if it's not given, it's not going to like it's not gonna like sway my opinion of the show. Like I would like to see some sort of like backstory to just like before Shoma was born, like what made their dad pick Shoma's mom to like be his wife or mother of his child, like because you press so many humans, what's special about this, things like that. But this one was saying, or the reaction to Shoma more when he was a kid, like all those things, like we find out through so much stuff, like Nell basically was pulling the strings since the first episode. Like he's the one who helped Shoma escape because he was really curious once when they pressed his mom and he was able to avoid it, what was going on. So he's literally the one who, was able to help Shoma escape, lead him to the door so the door was open. Like all that stuff was just chess pieces being moved by Nell. So Nell really has been like on the back side of things, just pulling the strings subtly as a manipulator. And so it shows because everyone, yeah, from a granite form he's strong, but he's definitely the brains of the operation. He is definitely that smart. Like I think out of everyone that's been on the show, the only person who's probably smarter than him from a planning things out long term is probably the president. So I was like, that stuff was really cool. And it's like, so I don't think there's no plot points that I'm just like, why wasn't this touched on more? I am curious about the whole candy shop owner and Shoma, because Shoma still has decided not to tell him. And I feel like when he was about to, his phone went off because that's when they saw Lizelle. So it's like one of those things where I'm like, I want to see where this is going. And because do they give us a happy ending where he tells the shop owner and then they're like, okay, now we're a family, and he runs the candy shop with him, like, and I would be okay with. I'm okay if there's gonna be a predictable ending. I really am. But as of right now, like the show, I think is like just it's phenomenal. I don't want to say phenomenal. It's getting there. It just depends because like if the next couple episodes after 47 aren't good or I'm like but does it ruin the overall show? I mean, I will say the show is fantastic. It's definitely a peak show as of where it's at right now. Whether or not it solidifies that in stone that it's peak is up to how it ends. But that is it. I just wanted to go over episodes 43 through 46. Let me know in the comments below what you think of everything that's been going on in the show. I will combine 47 and 48 into one video after 48 airs this weekend, and I will put that up next week. I do have the Soto Chronicles Kamen Rider Blade set that's going to be getting delivered. And I still have some other stuff I got to go over. Like, I'm kind of behind on content, but that's like kind of my own fault because I've just been so busy. But that's really it. I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm 10 subscribers away from 1,600, which is crazy. And I thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for checking out everything else on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one.